So boom, here we are again. And just smoking a zoot, mate. I was gonna whack on a live stream, but I thought maybe just a little quick video instead. Have a zoot. It's weird because I remember the first time I started smoking weed, yeah. Like I couldn't. I couldn't. And I'd always fucking... Oh mate, you're gonna think this is so stupid, right? But I would fucking sit in my room, yeah, and fucking buy silver Rizzlers, filter tips, and I'd roll up mint. I literally had loads of joints, and I thought I was really cool because I had this friend, and he'd always smoke weed, and we'd always hang out together. We were best of friends, but I just never smoked. Like he'd smoke cigarettes and weed, and I just wouldn't smoke. And one day I rolled up all this. I was like, "Look, mate, like look what I've got." And he's like, "What the fuck's that? Is that mint?" I was like, "Yeah." And one day I went to smoke one. He was like, "Why are you smoking mint?" I was like, "Yeah, because I don't smoke, so I might as well just smoke the mint, innit?" And he's like, "No, mate, you might as well just smoke a fucking rollie." And I was like, "Oh, really?" He was like, "Yeah, mate." Like, cause I was so amateur about smoking, didn't know anything about drugs at all. And so he was like, "Throw them away, mate." And I'd roll them with filter tips. I'd roll a joint with a filter tip, mate. Like, fucking hell. Anyway, I was like, "Okay, I'll have a puff of rollies." I was in his back garden. I had one toke of a roll up, and I was like, I was fucking like, "What is that? Why would you smoke that? It's so disgusting." Like, and then he was like, "You should try weed. Weed is better. Weed is better." And I was like, No. At one time, we was up on some scaffolding on top of the cricket pitch. There was built like a little pavilion house, and we was just sitting on the scaffolding. He was smoking. He was like, "Oh, try some." He'd always be like, and I'd always be like, "No." This went on for years, until one day I was I had a puff, and it was fine. Like I didn't feel anything. I didn't feel anything at all. I just thought it tasted really horrible, and that was it. Like literally, we went about the day. He's like, "What? You don't feel anything at all?" He's like, "Maybe you've just got a really high tolerance. Like you're not really susceptible to like drugs, blah blah blah." And I was like, "Maybe." And then another time, like maybe 2 weeks later, we were sitting down on the cricket pitch again, and smoking. It was sunny, boiling hot day. And smoking. He was like, "Right, have some. Try again. And I literally had like 3 blasts, and I was fucking done, mate. Like literally, I was so high. I was like, "What is this? How long is it gonna last? How do I get rid of this feeling?" I literally was like, "Nothing. You're just high, mate. You're just stoned." And like he's quite like relaxed and hippie, so like he wasn't like roadman at all. So like he was just like, "You're just stoned, mate. You just gotta relax and chill out and just that's it." I was like, "No, mate, like oh mate, this is horrible." And I was literally lying on the grass, mate, for maybe like 4 hours just on the grass, not being able to move. And it got to the point where he was like, "I'm gonna go home now," and I literally had to crawl across the cricket pitch and like fucking onto gravel. Like it was that bad. Like I even crawled across gravel because at the back of the pub there was like a gravel car park where I had to walk through and then go through like a mini woods bit to get to my house. And I literally just crawled on gravel, and I was like, "No, this is stupid. I've got to try and stand up." And when I stood up, mate, it was like, oh my god, like literally, and I fucking hated it. So ever since then, I was like, "No, fuck weed. I've tried it now. I've tried it." And I would say to all of my friendship group, "Oh, I've tried it. No, shit. I know it's shit now. I know it's shit. I don't need to say no," because they would always say, "Why are you saying no if you never tried it? How do you know you don't like it?" Blah blah. And I was always like, "No." And then yeah, this was when I was like 20. Yeah, this was when I was like 20, and then fucking yeah, eventually I tried it, and then fucking Yeah, that was it, basically. That was it. But I'd only ever smoke in social groups if I went out to town and like everyone was smoking in a group as you do as friends. Then I would have a puff, and I'd always be on the last of the joint. Like, I'd always have kills, and it would always give me Stinging Roger. And some people would think that's an insult, but it wasn't, because I literally couldn't smoke. So I'd just be like, save me the last bit. Like, literally just save me the last bit. And that's how I would smoke. Like, literally, I smoked like that for about 2 years. And then I started making YouTube videos and just slowly, gradually just smoking on my own. I remember the first time I ever rolled a joint on my own without my friends, and without my mate as well. And it was just so weird. I just felt really bad and guilty. Like, I should be doing this with other people. Why am I doing this on my own? This is not something you really do on your own. Only ever social smoked. And then, yeah, that's the end of that, mate. Like, well, you've got the videos to show what happened after that. I ain't stopped, but yeah. I fucking hated weed. But now I can't get enough of it, mate. I can't get enough. I love weed. I'll always advocate weed. But that was only because I was conditioned that weed was a drug. I literally, and the amount of times, like, okay, one time, yeah, during my time in public services, I went out on a raid with some officers. And fucking, it was early morning raid. It wasn't too early, it was about 8 o'clock. And obviously took a van, took a couple of cars, surrounded the house, banged on the door, got a load of fucking verbal abuse, and they fucking done it in, right? Fucking went in the house, instantly stunk of weed, yeah. Go up into the fucking back bedrooms, the front bedrooms, upstairs, mate, covered, just weed everywhere, just mounds of weed. Up in the loft, there was a fucking grow set up. Fucking, mate, like, literally, there was so much weed. And now I look back on all them times, twice I went on those sort of raids, and just seeing all those drugs and all them confiscations, and just, like, mate, all that weed specifically, just there. Like, and then even in security, mate, like at festivals and like concerts and things like that, and you find weed, and just like, I don't know, it's just so stupid, just being conditioned to like see someone doing certain things, and you're like, oh, that's illegal, that's against the law, mate. If I even smell a whiff of weed, mate, like, literally, if I smell even a whiff of weed, this is not in my security days, this is more public service days, which is mainly revolving around policing. And if I smelled the most tiniest bit of weed, mate, I'd freak out. Like, literally, I'd freak out, like some big time freak out. Like, fuck, like, literally, I would go off my nut, mate. I'd be like, this is weed. They're smoking weed, they're smoking. Mate, I was such a fucking goon, mate. Literally, what a dickhead. But I thought I was doing the right thing, mate. I thought I was doing the right thing. The law was the law, and that was it. I thought I was doing the right thing. And I started public services at a very young age. 14, to be precise. I left school at 14 and went straight into work. Because back then the law stated you had to be in employment training or education. You didn't have to go to school in order to get an education, whereas now it's mandatory to go to school. And if you don't, like, apparently, like, parents are being prosecuted and all of this. I've heard a few stories like that. My friends that have got kids have told me this. And it's just like, yeah, it's pretty nuts. But yeah, I didn't have to actually go to school. And obviously it was a massive deal that I quit. And, oh, why are you leaving school? You can't just leave school. And it's like, well, it's bollocks. Like, I don't need it. And I just went straight into work. I never claimed benefits. I literally, right now I'm on a bit of support. Do you know what I mean? Disclosing, I'm just getting real with you, right? Right now I do claim just like a minimum amount. It's nothing special. I haven't rinsed them. But at the same time, in 5 years I worked public services. I fucking earned it, I reckon. I never once spent a day of my life in benefits. I've always worked. I've always earned money. It's only since I come back from the Netherlands where I started claiming. So, do you know what I mean? Over 20 years of my life is spent not on benefits, plus 20 plus years. So, and even when I was younger at school, being diagnosed with this disorder, that disorder, behavioural problems, this, behavioural problems, that, I could have blamed off the government, but I didn't. I didn't. And my mum was also very strict with me in terms of like, just, do you know what I mean? Don't make excuses and don't fucking. She'd never deny me help. She'd never deny me help if I needed it. But she was like, don't just be relying on money from the government and use your health as an excuse not to fucking put any effort in and just to get money for free, basically, and just live on benefits. That's not the life I've had. That's not the life I'm used to. Like, don't get me wrong, some people are used to it. They see their parents on it, they see their whole family on it. It's just generation, it's grown into. But I haven't had that. So for me, I've always had that work ethic. But with that work ethic, like, it was just a case of like, alright, like I said, I was 14, so it was very easy for me to be influenced and just mould into what the system wanted me to be and needed me to be at that time. But it's not thinking back on it. It's not thinking back on it. The amount of weed that has just been confiscated that I just threw away. I literally. And I remember I had this girlfriend once, yeah. Well, my actual girlfriend. The only girlfriend I've actually really ever had, I would say, is actually a proper relationship, but straight away it comes to mind. I remember she would always be smoking secretly. And like, she was only, I remember when she was 14. Yeah, so she was 14, 15, smoking. And I would always be like, you can't smoke, blah, blah. And every argument that we had mainly was on her sneaking around smoking, going out, getting drunk, taking drugs. And now I'm just like, here with a spliff, like every day is all I advocate. I remember one time I caught her weed in her bag and I just flushed it down the toilet. Literally just flushed it down the toilet. Must have been like a 3-5 that her friend had given to her to hold on to. And I just flushed it down the toilet. So she obviously got in shit for that. Because now I smoke weed. If I gave my friend a 3-5 and said, I'll see you tomorrow, just hold on to that. And then they flushed it down the toilet. I'll be like, fam, why are you flushing my 3.5 down the toilet? I fucking lose my shit, literally. It's starting to get nippy. Very, very nippy. But, yeah. Thankfully, it's warm. Well, it's not warm, but inside it's warm. But I remember in the Netherlands, this was after I fucking come out of that hostel and when I was working at the hostel in the Netherlands, Flying Pig, New Dyke, and that was good. That was good fun. And then I come out, and I just had nowhere to go or stay. I just didn't plan ahead because I was just like, well, I'm at this hostel, I can live here for free. Like, do you know what I mean? I would work for my accommodation, but all you got to do is housekeeping, change the beds, do stuff with the guests in the evening, go out with them, take them different places. It was easy work. And I just didn't think ahead because it was so comfortable and it was just so nice. And obviously at the time I was saying like, oh, it's so good, like everything's good. And I did really explain, and I've watched that video back and now I'm just like, yeah, I know what I meant, and now I can explain. But it's just a case of that's another story. Maybe if you have any questions of the time in the Netherlands, then please let me know if there's any Netherlands related questions, because there's loads of stories, and I love the country. It's an amazing country, just infrastructure and the systems in play and everything else. So yeah, if there's anything you want to ask or you want to know from my travels, then please do ask, because otherwise I don't ever speak about it. I don't like to just boast and brag, but there's a lot of educational things that I learned, and it wasn't always just flashy. So a lot of people, when they travel, they say, oh, I stayed here and I went here and I done this. Yeah, I've done a lot of cool stuff, but at the same time I also lived, do you know what I mean? I lived. So yeah. But yeah, the story is I was coming out, and I left, and I just was like, right, okay. So I had all my stuff just stashed different places all over the city. And yeah, I had my bike situation all over the city as well. Got myself the Uber thing, so I was delivering food on my bicycle. And yeah, but I was sleeping in the park one time, yeah. And I slept in the park for about a week, just sleeping out. And I'd used up all the hostels. Like, I maxed out all the travellers' hostels, all the backpackers' hostels. I just maxed them all out. The hotels are obviously way too expensive. Like, as you'll see in my first trip, January of 2018, for the first 3 days, yeah, I stayed in hotels. And when I went backwards and forwards, you'll see me in hotels. But otherwise, yeah, I just stayed in hostels, which was a lot easier because you meet a lot of people that were travelling, and also it's cheaper. And I'd always been against hostels, like, no, I'm not going to stay in a hostel, because I just had bad experiences from hostels. Well, only one hostel I'd ever stayed in. And I'll tell you the story of the hostel as well. I've told it already, but I rewatched one video and it popped up and it reminded me of the story. But yeah, anyway. So I was always against hostels. Anyway, I stayed in all the hostels. Now, one hostel that I was sleeping by, I was in Oyster Park, and there was one hostel by Oyster Park. And there was a coffee shop, actually, Smoke Palace, and that was grenaded twice. Like, literally twice got grenaded. Like, there's a lot of gang war in the Netherlands, actually. Like, there is a lot of turf wars. Like, it's kind of like, it's not out of control, but it's overt. You can see it. Like, there was maybe 5 shootings when I was there and 2 grenadings. So what does that tell you? And this is just in Amsterdam Central. But yeah, Smoke Palace was my favourite coffee shop, man. There was like the cheaper, they used to undercut everybody, like literally undercut everybody. The woman in there was a fucking hag, mate. She was a witch. Like, literally, she was so horrible. She was just this really grumpy, miserable Dutch woman. Like, just really fucking, one of those people that just look like they're chewing on a wasp, like, all the time. Just like fucking just constantly. Literally, anyway. But I would always go in there because it was just like nice. Like, the place was nice. The actual venue, places sit down, smoke, and fucking yeah. And then it was takeaway only, and then yeah, they got grenaded, and then they got grenaded again. But it was a piss take because they was allowed to reopen, and then yeah, they just got fucking done in again. But I was sleeping in Oyster Park, right, and it was snowing at the time, and it was just fucking nuts because I had my sleeping bag, right, and then I had a fucking tarpaulin sheet over me, thinking, oh yeah, it'll be good insulation, da 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 da, and I put my bag underneath at the foot of the base of my feet, and I remember waking up, yeah, and fucking there was just a massive fucking thick layer of snow on top of me, yeah. And I had to fucking use my elbow to fucking crack the layer of ice that had formed on this tarpaulin sheet, and it all just fucking fell off and just shattered on the floor. Oh, it was grim. And I'd done that for a week, and I was going backwards and forwards to fucking Central Station as well, because you can fucking get a few things from there, and fucking, do you know what I mean, there's a few free things that you can get from there as well, and you make friends with a couple people that work in there, and they help you out every now and again, showing you, like, different things in different spots, and, like, do you know what I mean, food, drink. And I'd never ask people for money, mate. Like, I don't fucking, like, go out and beg. And, like, if I'm in these situations, it's just because I'm in these situations and it's just a madness. It's not because I'm just out there to fucking, I don't go out on the street and purposely think, oh, let's ask people for money. Like, no. But, I come back from there, and this one morning I woke up in the snow, and this guy was walking past, and like I had my bike and my rucksack and everything, and I was like pedaling out, and he stopped me and he said, "Did you just sleep outside?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "You shouldn't sleep outside. It's very dangerous. Like you could freeze to death." Like, and at this point it was like -7, -6, -7. And that's why I'm raising the thing, because I'm like, it's cold, but it's not that cold. But it was like -6, -7. It's like you could die. Like you could literally just freeze to death and die. And I was like, I didn't think about it like that. And he was like, where are you staying? Like, what's going on? I told him, like, do you know what I mean? I was working, and do you know what I mean? I'm no longer working at the moment. I didn't really plan ahead, and blah blah blah. And it's like, all right, okay. And then he took me to a hostel, and he paid for a week at a hostel, which was really generous of him, because I was like literally just at my like last end, and I like literally didn't know what to do. So he paid for that time at the hostel. No, 3 days, like 3 days, not a week, 3 days. They paid for the 3 days of the hostel. And then I remember I was back out, and I was like, oh mate, I don't know what I'm gonna do, like da 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 da. And obviously I was you get paid to recycle, so I was collecting plastic bottles, yeah. And I'd take them into the supermarket, but I'd make sure I had a massive like couple bin bags full, and I'd hide them in the park, and then bring them back, and I'd go early morning when it's first open, so there's no one in the shop, so no one sees you walking in with a shit ton of plastic bottles. But like everyone knows that that's what it's for, like, so then that's another thing that I'll tell you about actually that worked in my favour. But everyone knows what it's for, so no one really looks badly on it. They just think they're like happy that you're recycling as well. Like it's like a positive thing. So even though they know you're hard on cash, which is why you've got so many like that, like they would actually be like, yeah, okay, fine, fair play. At least you're actually doing something. You're not just asking people for money. Like you know you can collect bottles, so you can collect bottles and make money off that. So basically, you get 25 cents for the glass bottles, glass beer bottles, like the Heineken beer bottles, and you get 50 cents for the fucking big 2 litre Coke bottles, Fanta bottles, Sprite bottle, any plastic bottle that's 2 litre basically. So I used to just collect them. Now, I was doing that to earn a bit of cash, and then fucking one time I was doing this at a festival, yeah, called Orange Day, which is basically King's Day, and it celebrates the royal family and blah blah blah. So everything is like everyone wears orange. There's a massive festival in the street, a massive parade, and everyone just goes fucking nuts, mate. Like literally parties on boats, everything, mate. Like it's a sick day. So I was collecting these bottles on King's Day, mate. Fucking, it was fucking immense. Like literally, there was so many plastic bottles. Like literally, and I was just literally getting bin bags from the fucking street cleaners and just fucking using their fucking bin bags and just fucking filling them up, taking to fucking park. I went to Vondel Park, taken to Vondel Park. Vondel Park is like maybe 2 miles long, so it's a fucking massive area. So I'd take them to Vondel Park, stash them in the bushes, come back. Take them to Vondel Park, stash them in the bushes, come back. And then one time I was doing this, yeah, and this guy, he tapped me on his shoulder, and he gave me €50, mate. Literally, tapped me on my shoulder, he gave me €50. And he says, well done, like, I appreciate what you're doing. And he just put it in my hand, like, he says, I looked at it, I was like, what? Like, because he could see that I was, like, shocked. And he was like, no, take it. But, like, you know, and that was it. He just walked off. He didn't say nothing. He didn't, like, try and humiliate me or ask me, like, loads of dodgy questions. He was just like, here you go, mate. Because he could see, like, I was surrounded by people. Like, it was a fucking festival in the street, mate. I was surrounded by people. And I'm just collecting all of these bottles, mate. All of these bottles. And I was fucking just going for it. And he just came up and gave me €50, and I was like, fuck, mate, like, literally, fuck. So then that allowed me to get some more accommodation. Like, went straight away, paid, boom, booked the accommodation. And that kept me out of the snow, because I'd already spent another night out in the snow. And, not in the snow, sorry. I get my order back mixed up. I paid for the hostel, but it got me inside, and it means I could sort out my bottles, because it was festival and it was King's Day and it was hot. Well, actually it did rain a little bit, but it was good weather on King's Day. But yeah, the point is the weather was shit, and it allowed me to get accommodation, and then from my accommodation I could go and sort out my bottles, and I could just take them backwards and forwards. And I was so scared, because they're really hot on cleaning in the Netherlands, and I was so scared that the bin men would find them, because they clean that park really well. Like the bushes, all the little bits of wrapper, bits of plastic, everything, it's literally spotless. So fucking, I was like so worried that they would have found it and they was just gonna fucking take it. I was like, please, 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 because I'd left it like all neatly packaged, just in their plastic bag. So I thought they were just gonna notice it and be like, that's our bag. Why is it filled but in the bush? And but they were still there. And then I went slowly, and then I thought, fucking, oh mate. But out of the €50, and I got another €30 out of all those bottles. Like I cleaned up, mate. I literally cleaned up just on plastic bottles. Like literally €30 on plastic bottles. Like literally, it's free money basically. Imagine if they'd done that in England, mate. Like literally, if you just had to collect bottles, mate, that's your draw, mate. Like literally, trust me, you'd do it. Even if it means just going to your friends if you don't want to do it in the street, just like give me your bottles, or going to your neighbours and taking out their recycling. But yeah, that was one story. But then back to the snow. After being kicked out of the hostel and it being snowy and shit like this and fucking, yeah, it was just fucking grim. Like literally, it was grim. I started living at the airport. Like literally, I started living at the airport. And I was like, fuck it, I'm going to the airport. Because I'd always go backwards and forwards there, but I just was like, I'm going to go there. And I lived there for 3 weeks undetected, like literally just permanently based at the airport. And I just go backwards and forwards in town, but I just stay at the airport. And obviously you can't hide your bags there or anything because it's a fucking airport. Like you can't stash anything there at all. Like it's not wise to stash things at an airport, mate. Like it's not good. But like I'd always stash it in the town, in the city, and then I'd just go back for it. So it's kind of long, but that train ride is free because obviously you got bare people coming off the plane every day, 24 hours a day, and just using that train line. So you'd never ever get caught. And if you do get caught, you can just say, "Oh, I'm just come from the airport. I'm from England. I don't know where I'm going." Blah blah blah. Literally. And they'll just let you off, like literally they'll let you off and just say, oh, I'm going to buy one when I get there, because the main ticket office to get your travel card is at the station where you get off. So you've got to go through the station and then you come in Amsterdam Central Station and then you walk out the station, which is what I did. But normally you'd go to the fucking ticket office because you don't know where you're going, obviously. So you just like, oh, I need to buy this, I need to buy that. Just a tourist trap, basically. But anyway, mate, if you go there, you want to go there with me, mate, because you'll save so much money, mate. You'll save so much money. Even when I worked at that hostel, I'd take out the guests, mate. They'll save so much. Like, yeah, they had money to spend, but it'd go so much further because they weren't spending it on shit that they didn't need to buy, and they knew how to work their way around things. Like, and it's not saying you're stealing. Like, I'm not talking about stealing. You can still pay for shit, but it's just that some things you'll be overcharged, and it's just like you don't need to buy all these just different things. You just get one ticket or one. Do you know what I mean? It's cheaper, like $2.50, like a $2.50 ticket that allows you to travel. Like people don't know about that sort of stuff. So anyway, I was living at the airport, and the airport is good because you get free weed, free hash, free drugs, free everything, mate, because people are leaving the airport, they're leaving the country, so they come to the airport and they have the amnesty bins, and obviously you can just, they either sit in the smoking area, and it's had times I've been smoking a joint, and they'll come up to you and they're like, hi, how are you, blah, blah, and they'll be like, oh, we're leaving, do you want this? So if you chat to them and they get to know you, and you tell them that you live there, they're like, oh, do you want this? And that happens all the time. Like, they just give you free drugs, so the airport is the best place to stay, like, literally. So it's always good to hang out at the airport first, or if you go to your hotel or go to where you're staying and then come back to the airport, hang out at the airport, get to know the airport, get to know the people at the airport, chat to people that are leaving and coming, and make friends from all over the world and then connections, and you see how much shit you get. Or if you've got balls, you can go up to the security search bins, the amnesty bins, before you get to this main security gate, the gate line, and you can fucking go through the bins and just fucking pick out bags of weed, bags of hash, bags of everything, mate. And it's all dry shit, it's all fucking plastics. It's all plastics that's in the bin, it's no food. But you've got to have balls, because obviously people will be watching on cameras, and fucking the police and this and this, and everyone's there. It's the airport. But yeah. But yeah, I got detected because, well, rookie move actually. I just was sleeping in the fucking departure lounge. It was fucking comfortable, it was warm. So I was away from all the idiots that were just fucking, do you know what I mean? People that either come in or just leave in and they're just a bit pissed up. It's fucking in a massive group, and you just like stay away from that. I go inside, and obviously I just overslept one time, and then I was like, oh, blah blah blah, and I just stupidly, I was like, oh, I'm waiting for. I should have just said I'm waiting for a fucking plane. I just was like, oh no, but they'd seen that I'd been waiting there for ages. So it was like, when's your flight? And I was like, I don't have one. I was like, do you have a ticket? I was like, no. And it was like, you can't be in the airport if you don't have a plane ticket. And I was like to them, oh, I've been staying there for ages. Basically, I've been staying there for ages. And then, yeah, that was my downfall, really. I shouldn't have said that to them. And then it was like, oh, well, blah, blah, we've got to take you here, blah, blah. I've got to speak to these police officers, like terrorism and all of this. And I was just like, mate, I'm just sleeping at the airport, mate. It's warm, it's clean. Like, you got Wi-Fi, you got computers. Like, there's people, you got Burger King, you got a supermarket. Like, do you know what I mean? I'm sorted. Like, this is back in the days when I was on good terms with Burger King. But, yeah, so... yeah, it was all good, mate. Like, it was all good, and they just sort of laughed it off, and it was like, yeah, don't sleep in the airport no more. Don't live in the airport if you haven't got a ticket. Like, it's not good. You'll get yourself in trouble. And then they just let me leave, basically, and then I just went back to the city. But yeah, that was the time at the airport. But 3 weeks, fam, 3 weeks undetected. Like, obviously they would have seen me around, but they just didn't say nothing. But then, because I was like actually just being bait, they was like, no, can't have it. But yeah, mate, the airport is the best place to be, mate. Obviously, it's the best place. None of this fucking sleeping in fucking doorways and fucking this and that. This is what I mean. Like, I'm very savvy with it. I'm very savvy with it. There's good places to sleep and there's bad places to sleep. Like, doorways, no. Like, people can fucking attack you in your sleep. Obviously, I'd never sleep in a doorway. No matter what my life has brought me, I'd never sleep in a doorway. That's not me being like, you know what I mean, like, snobby. I'm just saying, like, it's just dangerous. You get disease, you get sick, you get lung problems. Like, it's dodgy. But literally, when I was with St. John's, yeah, I done a lot of work with the homeless. Literally a lot of work with the homeless, and there's so many different infections and diseases, and like, do you know what I mean? I got 2 diplomas out of it because I done infectious diseases, so I got awards from that. But yeah. I didn't get infectious diseases, but I learnt about infectious diseases and treated it, like, actively. Went out on the ambulances and we would interact with the homeless engagement team. But yeah, mate, it's dangerous. It's not good. It's not good. People can knife you up. People can chuck shit on you. Like, yeah, it's just not good. But there was this one time where I was sleeping outside in the street, and obviously this is the Netherlands, so it's a lot cleaner. So you gotta imagine, like, you're sleeping on your front room floor or in your garden path. But there was like a bench, like a really long bench, like an outside seating area bench, the thin ones, and you know, like the PE benches you used to get at school. And I was lying on that, and I had my bag underneath me by my head, and it was like by this shop window, and there's like a massive long alleyway behind me, but it was all blocked off, so you couldn't get down there. It was literally just for the shop to come out, where they'd have their fag breaks, like the chefs in the back of the kitchen. So I know no one would be coming out that way. And basically, like, I woke up, yeah, I heard these voices, like people speaking to me in Dutch, yeah. And I was like, what? Like, literally, because obviously I can understand, like, a little bit of Dutch, like, just a little bit of Dutch. Like, I don't know it fluently, but I can understand and speak a few words. So I hear these voices, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, literally, and obviously this is the time where it's cold, like, it's cold, cold, cold. It's not snowing, but it's cold. And at least -1, -2. It must have been at least. But literally, because this is the Netherlands, it gets down to -10, -11, like, so. Those minuses is nothing once you start heading into Eastern Europe or mainland Europe in general, because you've got a lot of forest in Germany and all the storm and the snow blows over. Anyway, I wake up, yeah, and I just, like, in a daze, bearing in mind this is 2 in the morning. I didn't know this at the time, but it was like 2 o'clock in the morning. Say, hello, 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 hello. I'm just like, what the fuck? But bearing in mind, I'm lying on one of those little PE benches, yeah, they're quite low down to the ground, and I'm on by a shop front, so I know where I am. and I open my eyes, yeah, and I'm lying down, and I just see two hooves, like two hooves, and I'm like, what the fuck? So I open my eyes a bit more, and I see 4 hooves. Then I see 8 hooves, and I look up and I see 2 horses, and I'm like, what? Like, what? I look up a bit further. It's 2 coppers in it. It's 2 coppers on the horse, waking me up, telling me I can't sleep, because basically sleeping outside, like being homeless and sleeping in the street is illegal. Like it's like under the Vagrancy Act, like it's actually illegal. You can get fined 120 euros, or you can get, well, they wouldn't imprison you, but yeah, they do that, like, because you get a night in prison basically to pay off that fine. So you can either, because they pay you to be in jail, and this is no, I don't know if it's with any crime, but with low-level crime that's dealt with by police justice, so any fine, you can pay it off in jail time, and I think it's like 80 euros a day they pay you to be in jail. So if you get a fine, you could opt to do jail time for that fine, but obviously that's, most people just pay the fine, even though they don't like the fines, but then I always argue that you have a good life to pay that fine, so that fine actually does go into the system, and it does actually get filtered out into the people, so you can actually see where all the money goes. But then at the same time, people just get pissed off with fines. Like, I got so many fines. I got about 2 grand's worth of fines, mate. Like, literally, that's not even exaggeration. But a lot of that was paid off by the government, because again, it's so good. If you don't have money, the government will actually pay your fine off for you. But yeah, or they'll write it off. It's not they'll pay it off for you, they'll write it off. But yeah. But yeah, these 2 police officers, they woke me up, and I was like, what the fuck, like, but yeah, I was tripping out, mate, because there's 2 coppers on a horse, mate, and it's just like, what the fuck, like, so they're like, you can't sleep here, you can't, like, just, do you know what I mean, go somewhere else, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, fine, fuck it, and I ended up going to Central Station, chilling out, jamming out. It was actually quite cool. I met this old Dutch guy, literally, this old Dutch guy, and yeah, he was a great laugh, like, he was hilarious, but literally, we was chatting all night. And then I chatted with him until about 9 o'clock in the morning, actually. I literally just at the back of the station. Like, he just used to come out and chat to everyone that hanged around the back. And yeah, really nice guy, really nice guy. Like, really, really caring. Like, really did give a shit. Like, really did give a shit. Like, I wanted to make sure everyone was alright. But yeah, mate, to Netherlands. Those are just little few stories anyway. Actually, there's a little few stories. Remember the Artful Dodger from Romania? And he was like a high-end thief, mate. Like, he would just, the amount of shit that he would finesse. Like, he would go into Louis Vuitton and House of Fraser and fucking, what is it? Chanel and Armani and Ralph Lauren and all of these places, yeah. And he would just finesse them with like all this designer gear, like watches and belts and shoes and jackets and polos and t-shirts and jumpers. And what he used to do is he used to take it off the display models. Like, he used to take it off the display models. And also he used to go in changing rooms and layer them all up, and he had a magnet, and he used to take off all the fucking, and it's so professional. And one time he come out, and he said, oh, meet me. I'm coming back from Belmar, I've just sold a load of stuff, I got a load more, blah, blah, blah. And he said, oh, I've got about £1,000 worth of stuff here, I've got about £1,000 worth of stuff. He was like, I'm going to make money now, watch, I'm going to make money now. And I was like, bruv, how are you going to move all of this stuff? And he's like, wait, you just watch. I've got a contact in the red light district, I'm going to go see this girl, blah, blah, blah. But he was being really gassed about it, but then being really vague. So I was just like, right, okay. And then he was like, oh, mate, you need to come with me. Basically, I've hidden a watch by the scaffolding and blah, blah, blah. The police were chasing me, security was chasing me earlier on, and I'm scared that they're still there, so I want you to come with me and just keep a lookout. I was like, all right. So we go down this alleyway and we got to the scaffolding where he thinks it is. We have a look around, there's no one there. He goes and takes the watch, it's still there, right? Check this. We're now walking over here into the red light district, and he's like asking people as he goes along, the girls at the window, saying, alright, I've got this, da da da. And they all know him, mind, they all know him. And it's just jokes, mate. And we go into this one place here. And I'm like, no, this is dead, like literally, because they're all like, oh, maybe tomorrow or this, and he's like, okay, yeah, and they're like, no, I don't want this one, I want this one, and like they're probably like placing orders and shit. So he's getting all this information. So he's like, for him, he's like, I'm just thinking we're wasting time, but for him, he's actually doing business. But I just thought he was just being gassed. So, but no, it was a legit thing, because I knew he was good, but I didn't know he was this good. That's the thing. So I'm telling the story before I knew what he was actually capable of. So anyway, going through a proper hustler, just go. So we get to the final strip here, and it's a massive house here, like a massive house. And he knocks on the door, and he's like, right, come in, just wait downstairs, don't say anything, just wait. So I go ahead and wait downstairs. Just waiting around. Girl comes down. He's like, hey, how are you? Blah, blah, blah. It's my friend. She's like, hey. And he was like, right, I've got this, and I've got this, and I've got this, and I've got this, and I've got perfume, and blah, 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 all in his rucksack, right? She's like, right, okay, come upstairs. I wait downstairs. Bruv, he comes back with a wad of fucking 50 € notes, mate. A fucking wad of them like this. And I was like, how did you do that? And he was like, I told you. Like, it's just so funny. And fair play to him. Like he was living a bit rough, the same as me. Like he was living a bit rough, but he never wasted his money. He used to send it back to Romania. And he was working on building a house, and he could send money back to his mum and his family and all of this. And that's how he ran. But yeah, mate, it was nuts, mate. He had a really good on system, mate. He was just a professional, but it's just the fact of it didn't be like going in like Tesco's and Sainsbury's and all of this. He would just fucking straight away Louis Vuitton, Armani, do you know what I mean? Straight away perfumes is fucking 200 grand a pop, like literally, like not 200 grand. One was saying 200 grand a pop, 2 grand a pop, like literally just on a perfume, just straight away, bosh. Do you know what I mean? 6 grand there just in perfume, nuts, like literally nuts. Oh mate. He had it down to a fine art, a real fine art. Like, I don't advocate like shoplifting, but if you're gonna do it, mate, do it well. Like literally, do it well. But we end up having an argument and falling out. I can't remember why. I think it was over this whole situation. Actually, because he'd always be going out, yeah, and I did get a little bit annoyed with him, because yeah, he was sending money back to Romania, but then he's the type of guy, yeah, that would be doing all that, but then be asking you for a tenner so you can fucking eat and like go and get weed and shit like this. Like he wouldn't, like, I don't know where his money would go. Like he would buy a lot of expensive shit as well, so he'd look the part, which was good, because you have to look the part to go into those kind of shops. So he would always dress up well and always look nice to be clean shaven, but yeah, just, I don't know. Sometimes people have got more money than sense, do you know what I mean? The air is proper fresh, you know. Anyway, that is all for now. I just wanted to come on, have a chat, smoke a zoot, and that was it really. But yeah, stay blessed, stay lean, and peace.